every fan waits for. The countdown's over. The road to kickoff has begun.
Play is here to stay.
I'm not going to name names, Kevin.
From win totals to player props, from division races to MVP debates, we've got eyes on every camp and data feeding 24/7, breaking down every angle across the league. Every pick, every edge, every line that matters. SportsGrid. Your road to kickoff starts now.
He played with Bobby Mack. Literally had a nervous breakdown the entire round, and by the time they got to the fourth hole, he was losing by a stroke. It was, you think Tommy Fleetwood's a train wreck. You should have seen what this poor guy went through yesterday playing with him.
Yeah, you know what I want to say in this too? Like, the winner gets the entire pot of earnings.
The early line, only on SportsGrid.
Paige Beckers. She does it night in, night out. She's been absolutely fantastic for a Dallas Wings team that really isn't going anywhere. We'll see what happens in regards to where they're going to end up in the WNBA draft, because obviously, if they win it, they're probably looking at our buddy, AZ Fudd, to be drafted next year.
Betting above the rim, only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With two former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
Welcome in. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. A wild, wonderful Wednesday. Scott Wetzel, Gabriel Morency for the next 2 glorious hours, right up until 10 p.m. Eastern time, watching, analyzing, and of course, betting on the world of sports. What are we betting on today? How about baseball? Wall-to-wall baseball. We have teams trying to clinch. We have teams trying to avoid elimination. 50 enough for Judge. You be the judge in New York as he goes deep already tonight. And my betting angle, veteran pitchers who are pitching tonight on teams that are officially eliminated. I'll explain in a little bit. First up, though, it's game time. What is betting you off tonight? Gabe, how are you?
A busy night tonight, Scott. My palette is more diversified than a lot of people's. It's an MLS soccer night tonight, NHL preseason night tonight. Yeah, we got baseball. Last night we had our experiment in which we played all 11 NHL preseason games under the number. Ended up going 7-4 to the under.
Nice.
So it comes into tonight, 20-11 on the season to the under the National Hockey League. And we've got a game right now. We got a 2-1 game, actually, midway through the third period of play that's on pace for the under right now. So we're going to keep our eye on the NHL preseason tonight, the regular season around the corner. So it's good to stay on top of all these teams and be ready. Not only just for betting purposes, but to be ready when the season starts. But for me tonight, Scott, the story of the night is the Los Angeles Dodgers bullpen. And what do the Dodgers do? I know moving forward in the postseason, it won't be as much of a problem, right? Sasaki's going to be in the bullpen. I thought that Emmett Sheehan should be, arguably the closer. And now that's a topic of conversation with the Dodger organization. But Tanner Scott, guys, 10 blown leads. Another one last night, blown saves. Dodgers blow leads late. 26 blown saves for the season for the Los Angeles Dodgers. And, guys, they've won 88 games. Like, Scott, their win total was 103.5. They should have gone over the number this year. But this is what happens. There's a big difference. You can look great trying to close games for the Miami Marlins. Nobody cares. Nobody cares if you succeed. Nobody cares if you fail. Nobody sees it. It's a little bit different when you're pitching for the Los Angeles Dodgers and the defending World Series champions. The pressure is a hell of a lot more intense, and he's cracking under the pressure. And if there's anything, Scott, if you're a Dodger hater or a Dodger fan, that bullpen has to be a big red flag going into the playoffs.
That is for sure. That is for sure. All right, it's time for the opening pickoff. 4 plays from Gabe, 4 from me that we're going to kind of keep an eye on throughout the evening. I'll start, Gabe, and this is going back to what I said earlier. I'm looking for veteran pitchers that are probably making their last start. There's only 5-6 games left of the regular season, so they're pitching tonight, and their team is officially eliminated. Biggest one I'll start with is under 6.5 strikeouts, Jacob deGrom. I don't know, with all the injuries this dude has had over his career, I don't know why he's even starting tonight. Shut him down. He's got 1 game left. You survived him not getting injured. I don't think he's going to be out there long. The number they're giving you is like a normal start. I don't think he gets that. Bruce Bochy, good manager for Texas. I don't think he's going to do anything goofy. Maybe 3, maybe 4 innings, but I don't think he's getting 7 strikeouts. So under 6.5 strikeouts, Jacob deGrom.
One thing I'd be weary of is player performance bonuses. You got to be aware of certain numbers that he could be gunning for, certain amount of innings, pitch, this, that, and everything else in between. I opened up with the Dodgers. I'll keep it with the Dodgers here. I would say this is a must-win for them tonight. You could make a legitimate argument that the Dodgers would be better off not winning the division. Like, honestly. And then they could avoid the Philadelphia Phillies. They'd have to deal with the Cubs and then the Milwaukee Brewers as opposed to potentially the Mets and the Phillies. That's a debate right there. I don't think the Dodgers want to have that debate. San Diego lost earlier in the day. Blake Snell gets it done. He's been one of the hottest pitchers in baseball, Scott. Give me the Dodgers tonight.
All right. I'll go under. Found another pitcher, Yusei Kikuchi for the LA Angels. Now, he doesn't have the injury concerns that Jacob deGrom has, but this is year number 1 of a 3-year, $63 million contract. Why risk injury tonight? He's not a big strikeout guy to begin with. He's only had 5 strikeouts in one time in his last 7 starts. And Kansas City, the team he's facing, is one of the best non-strikeout teams in baseball. I don't see how, when you add everything together, he's getting 5 strikeouts tonight. So under 4.5 strikeouts, Kikuchi for the LA Angels.
Yeah, I've got a strikeout prop here. Blake Snell. We'll keep it once again with Arizona and Los Angeles. Snell has been unbelievable. His last 13 innings, he hasn't given up a run. All right, so his last 2 starts, he's pitched shutouts. He's got 23 strikeouts, 12 and 11. The prop tonight is 6.5, and you're even getting a little bit of plus money tonight at plus 110. We love Blake Snell, and after the way that the Dodgers bullpen has collapsed just nightly over the last couple of weeks, look for Snell to go deeper in the game tonight. And if Dave Roberts doesn't want to get fired before the playoffs start, I think that they stay away from the bullpen. But love Blake Snell tonight. He should have 9-10 strikeouts.
I'm going to kind of go opposite of you, not completely, but I am going to use Blake Snell as well, believe it or not. I'm going to use him under 16.5 outs. Why? Last time out, he threw well over 100 pitches. Time before that, he threw well over 100 pitches. He's not had 3 straight games of 100-pitch outings with the LA Dodgers. We're all the shoulder injuries he's had this season already. And with the Padres losing earlier today, Dodgers are now 2.5 up on San Diego, 3 in the loss column, which is the most important thing, and they hold the tiebreaker with the San Diego Padres. So it would be a real monumental collapse now if the Dodgers don't win that division. With those back-to-back 100 pitch outings, I'd be a little surprised if he went into the 6th inning. 16.5 outs is 2 outs into the 6th. I say he doesn't go that far. Might get your 10 strikeouts. I don't doubt that. But I'm going to go under 16.5 outs, Blake Snell.
I'd be surprised if he does it, to be honest. And you're right, he could go 5 innings and have 8 strikeouts, right? I mean, we see this all the time.
He's done it
nightly.
Before.
Yeah, we've seen it. But like I said, the Dodgers bullpen, they want to avoid this. They want to wrap this division up. And like I said, even if they didn't wrap the division up, I don't know if it's the end of the world for them, to be honest with you. But they don't want to go into the playoffs just continuously losing. And I'm going to play Nelson tonight under 4.5 strikeouts. Let's give credit to the D-backs that battled. They're fighting into the final week of the regular season here, but 4.5 strikeouts. Now, like I said, Snell over 6.5 is plus money. Nelson under 4.5 is minus money. It's like minus 145, but he's only had 5 strikeouts in 1 of his last 5 starts. So I'm actually surprised. Like I was eager to see what it was going to be. I thought it would be like 3.5. I was surprised to see that it was 4.5. As I said, his last 5 starts, he's only had over 4.5 strikeouts once. Give me Nelson under 4.5 strikeouts tonight.
All right, this one might be a little bit of a surprise because on paper it doesn't make sense, but give me the A's plus 110, 112 against Houston. Severino's pitching, Luis Severino's pitching. He's 1-9 at home. ERA twice as high at home as it is on the road. But, Gabe, you know what? A's are 6-2 his last 8 starts, including 2-0 at home. Give me the A's plus the 112.
Man, the Astros just can't beat the A's. It's unbelievable, and it might cost them a playoff spot if they don't start figuring it out. We lost last night with the Houston Astros. I'm a little bit gun-shy now this evening, even though I kind of lean Astros, but not pulling the trigger. We'll have a couple of hockey plays for later. Vancouver Canucks, Calgary Flames in action. There's an interesting angle for that game, and like I said earlier, we got some MLS soccer tonight going on too.
Cool. Gotta love that. Absolutely. The opening pickoff. There you go. We are set, and no doubt we will have a ton of other plays throughout the evening, so don't go anywhere. In-game live game day here on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Like, because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And like, some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. Like, that's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season, or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
Welcome back in-game live game day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe just getting underway, so we got our picks in, and obviously we're going to have a ton more. Did have 2 games this afternoon. One didn't matter necessarily, although Atlanta did have their 10-game winning streak snapped, but San Diego did lose at home to the Milwaukee Brewers, so that really does open the door. And you're right, Gabe. You know, if you want to break this stuff down, and I don't know if players think about that. They really should, as much as fans certainly do. But you can make the case, right? It would be better for them to finish as the number one wild card team. You get the 3 games at home versus winning the division when you're going to be, in the case of the Dodgers, the number 3 division winner. So you will be playing in that wild card game anyway. You're not really avoiding anything. You really aren't. All you're doing is just picking which team you'd rather play. And if it looks like it's going to be the Mets, I'd rather play Cincinnati or Arizona, but I would want to stay away from the Mets. And then, as you mentioned, you get Philadelphia. So anyway, long story short, you can make the case it's better for the Dodgers not to win the division.
Yeah, right. And I've pointed this out for the last couple of years with the current playoff format the way that it is, Scott. Winning the division isn't really a reward. You know what I mean? I get it. You're put into the wild card because you're the third. You have the third best record as the division winners, but it's not an advantage when you look at the path down the road. But I think the NBA is kind of the only league that does that, Scott. Right? The Clippers have done it. The Lakers have done it, like late in the season. They want to avoid certain teams, and it always backfires on teams, Scott. I don't think nobody's going to lose on purpose, number one, right? And you don't want to be going into the playoffs like 0-6 and say, well, we want to play this team, but we're 0-6, right? And I agree with you in the sense I've always found it kind of comical, the look ahead spot. The handicappers use that a lot. It's a look ahead. Players do not know who they are playing or care. And I think you're bang on. If you ask the guys on the Dodgers, I think they would answer you from a pitcher perspective. They'd be like, well, that Sanchez guy gives me problems, but I hit Wheeler or whatnot. So I think the players, the hitters would sort of thinking, they'd be honest with you and say, well, I like this pitcher better or that pitcher, but I don't think, they got to play who they got to play. And I'm thinking from a Dodger fan, Scott, I want to avoid the Phillies. Well, if you beat whatever, you get there, you got to play the Phillies in the championship series anyways. You got to beat who you're going to play, right? You don't want to start thinking with the loser mentality. But a good example, bro, was Asia Wilson the other day. She didn't know who they were playing. She didn't know, who won between the Fever and the Dream. They said, all right, you've got the Fever next. She goes, I didn't know that. I didn't watch the game. Didn't know that, right? Remember Cam Newton in the Super Bowl? Didn't know that. You're playing the Broncos. Yeah. I didn't know that. He should have, and there's a lot of things Cam Newton didn't know evidently against the Broncos. That's another story. Yeah. That should have been my warning sign, Scott. I bet on Carolina in that game. The fact that he didn't know who they were playing, come on, it's the Super Bowl. I get but I'm telling you, the Raptors have one of those behind the scenes all access shows like a lot of teams do now. There's cameras on them all the time. And dude, there's scenes where they're walking, they're going into on the plane and they're asking each other, where are we going? Oh, Cleveland? Oh, okay, I didn't know. I see on the Pat McAfee show, Travis Kelce and other guests, Rogers, whatever, on Tuesdays, they don't know who they're playing. Right? I've seen it a bunch of times. McAfee go, hey, you got the Chargers this week, Travis. And he's like, yeah, I didn't know that. They don't know. Yeah. I saw you'll like this one, Tyreek Hill. You'll get a kick out of that. Tyreek Hill once said, yeah, he was asked who they're playing, and he goes, I don't know and I don't care. No one can stop me.
Well, at least
that's how they think, right? Scott. They don't know. They don't care. It's a job. I don't know. We're going here. We're getting on a plane. You go where you tell me to go.
Yeah, and that's why, it goes back to what I say all the time, and people think I'm just being stupid and stuff. It's no, bettors, fans, I won't even say bettors, but bettors in particular, they know the minutia of game time decisions, when to call timeouts, when to the kick, go for two and all that other stuff better than the head coaches, because the head coaches aren't watching 30, 35 games like sports fans are between college football and the NFL. All the head coaches are doing are watching game films. They may be watching 30 game films, but they're not watching game management. So the fan does know a lot. And that's the case in point. There's a good example. They players they
think they know.
Whatever.
They think they know. But they think they know. I think coaches look ahead. Coaches know the schedule, right? Coaches will know, all right, we're playing this team. Yes. And we've got 3 division games coming up or whatnot. But for the most part, players do not know. And, especially college kids. You'll hear it a lot. Oh, they're playing this team next week. College kids have the attention span of a goldfish, Scott.
Yeah.
Like, you really think like they're thinking about like next week? Like, they want to score now. Like, they're worried about now. Like, they don't, they'll find out. A lot of teams like find out on the Wednesday. Because the Monday, it never really comes up. Monday is the let's rewatch the tape day. Tuesday's a day off.
Right.
I know. There's a lot of guys, Scott, in the NFL that they'll find out Wednesday who they're playing because they're told. All right, this is the plan against Burrow. Another one, too, that's really funny. Fans think everyone knows everything. Like, fans know everything. Dude, I was at the Super Bowl. We had a bunch of Dallas Cowboys on. They could not name any player on the Cincinnati Bengals besides Joe Burrow and Chase Brown. None. Like, they're like the guy like this. Yeah, they got a good defense. I don't know their names, but they're pretty good. Like, no one knows each other's name, dude. Like, guys in the NFL don't even know guys on their own team name.
Yeah, even coaches refer to players as numbers. Oh yeah, that 55. Yeah, he's good. Like, because again, they're watching game film. They're not even like saying who it is. All they notice is number 55 is a pretty good linebacker.
That's what upset. That's what upset Miami Dolphin players when Nick Saban was the coach. He didn't learn their names, and he used to call them by their number all the time, like he does in college. Doesn't work, Scott, in the NFL.
Yeah. When you have 100,
they're not going to play for you if you don't even know their name. Like,
if you're not addressing them. If you're addressing them as a 55, you're in a little bit of trouble because he's making more than Nicky Quick even. So
Kyle Turley told me Ditka used to do that, but you're Mike Ditka. You can get away with that.
Yeah. Got some teams in trouble again tonight, including the Cincinnati Reds. Now, they have an excuse tonight in Paul Skeens, but you know what? They're losing again. They're blowing this thing. To get fading away. That game with all the others. Fading away. More coming up in Game Live.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number one. Checking out some baseball. We got Cam Stewart coming up. No doubt do a whole lot of golf with the Ryder Cup. Right down the street. Read some stories in the newspaper today about how people in my town are renting their house out for $30,000-$40,000 for a couple of days. Man, I missed the boat on that. I really did. But anyway, we'll make it up tonight with some of our plays tonight. I did
That'd
not
be a nice
play,
house.
Oh, yeah, I know. Well, you know what? They showed pictures in the newspaper, and nothing better than mine. I'll tell you that. It's crazy, and I'm not that close where you could walk to it. It's maybe 2 miles away, 3 or 4 miles.
No, the
away
Ryder
anyway.
Cup, Cup tickets are extremely expensive.
I don't get that.
The cheapest ticket
Why?
to get in. And that's the thing, Scott. You're at home. Wouldn't you say, let's make it $50 and get 200,000 people and get a crazy home advantage and just like make a spectacle of this? What are you doing by doing that? You're scaring people away. It's like $5,000 essentially. Like you got to pay $5,000 for the 4 days. It's $750 for 1 day to be treated like a loser, and you get to you got a general admission on the outside, whatever. Like, it's just a complete. I was reading about even people in the golf world are aghast at the prices. Like golf and Scott, like golf commercials or BMWs. I get it. It's like tennis. It's like, okay, right. You're targeting a different demographic, but no one's gonna go. You're gonna have a bunch of rich corporate guys there. You'll have zero home country advantage at all.
I don't get it. It's crazy. So,
and in Europe, that's what they do, bro. They make it cheap. Yeah. It's like $80 to get in, and it's packed.
Yeah. I mean, listen, parking is limited over there, but you got to bus in anyway. No one's parking at the facility. They have different places where you bus in. I mean, you got 18 holes. Not all 18 will be used. It's not like a regular tournament. I get that, but it's standing room only, for goodness sake. You could do thousands and thousands of people on one hole, but anyway, I got to lead off with Tampa Bay and Baltimore again, like we did last night. I got 2 reasons to do it tonight, Gabe. One, we got that under run. It hit again last night, so it's now 13 straight home games for Baltimore going under. It's 5-0, bottom of the 7th, and we have a combined no-hitter in the game. Tampa Bay has used how many pitchers so far? 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. No one's allowed to hit. Boz went to. Here's a good example. A veteran pitcher. Not that he's older, but a veteran pitcher in a meaningless game. They only pitched him 4 innings tonight. That's, I think, what's going to happen with those other guys I mentioned. So he only pitches 49. He goes 4, and then they use 3 other guys for an inning apiece. And now someone's on base. Oh, they just got a hit. When you talk about the black cloud, someone just got a hit for Baltimore. So all right. So much for the no-hitter. But
we're going into the real home stretch of there not being a no-hitter, too. Right? So the first time in 20 years, I think it was 2005. We talked about it last week. It's just, I don't think it's going to happen. I mean, it's going to happen I guess it could on the final weekend, but it just doesn't seem to be in the cards this year. And pitchers are getting taken out sooner in the games anyway, so who's really going to get a crack at this?
Right. I don't think one guy's going to get it. Let's put it that way. Maybe. I mean, listen, there's only 5 games left, 4 games after today for the most part. So, yeah, that's pretty rare. Said the Reds are losing. So are the Detroit Tigers again, as we talked in the break. They had a 1-0 lead. Cleveland put 2 on the board, bottom of the 3rd. It's now bottom 4. Cleveland 2-1 over Detroit. They're now a monster 330 favorite. They were like minus 145 to start the game. I mean, you'd have to be nuts. I don't even think Martin Zinno would be betting Detroit these days.
It actually is the largest deficit. Largest deficits overcome to tie or take a lead in division since 1969. And the different formats. But the Guardians, 15.5 games back. The 1914 Braves were 15 games back. The 1978 Yankees, 14 back. 2012 A's 13. So there has been, Scott, some instances of double-digit comebacks to make the playoffs, but pretty wild that it's the Cleveland Guardians, and pretty insane that it was 15.5 games.
Yeah. And it was 11 September 5th game. We're talking 2.5 weeks ago. It was an 11-game lead. As we were saying in the break, it's almost mathematically impossible to make up 11 games in, 17 games? Because it was 18 days. There's got to be 1 day off because you're not playing Cleveland, obviously, in Detroit 17 times. So you have to do well, and the opposition has to do poorly. And Detroit
It's
plays
sort of-
Boston next.
They chipped away, but it's sort of like the Phoenix Mercury last night. I saw the players talking after the game. They were like, you guys were down by 20. And they said, we never quit. They said, we never quit in games. They said, we don't always come back, but we never quit.
Hey, Tim Stewart, little golf talk, Ryder Cup, coming up next.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe, hour number 1. We got some baseball. We got some Ryder Cup starting on Friday. Let's welcome in our good buddy. Talks all sports, including golf. Obviously, Mr. Cam Stewart, who you see in here all the time here on the Grid. What's going on, Cam? Getting all set for Ryder Cup action in a couple of days?
I am, Scott, and I told Gabe today on our podcast, I'm starting to think, I'm like, you know what? If I was commish Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, it's never going to happen because I'm like, you know what? Because you got Saturday college football and Sunday NFL, but these guys do what they do. And there's also, I told Morency, there's a chance of like rains for like the last few days in New York too. Like there's not a very big window of time. If they start on Friday and you have Saturday and Sunday, you have to play 4 balls, alternate shot, singles, and Sunday singles, everybody plays. So I'm just saying if there's any extended delay, this thing is going to get real crazy. But yeah, I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think Europe, the price for Europe, in my opinion, is insane. I look at this thing almost as a pick'em when you break down the teams. Hell, I think Europe's a little bit deeper than the United States, to be honest with you. So, and you're getting them almost at 2-1 on a course. And Gabe, when we mentioned on the podcast too, these Euros love tough tracks. And Bethpage Black is one of the top 10. It got ranked top 10 toughest courses in the world. So it's one of those courses. It's very, very difficult. If you spray it around, you're done. So I just see a lot of value on the European side, Scott. I know you're Captain America, but you know what? You don't pay my mortgage. So I got to look at the numbers and say Europe at plus 180 looks pretty damn good to me. So that's basically where I'm going. And as for Scheffler, you get him at top USA golfer for points at plus 280. And I'm thinking, okay, we're in a regular tournament and we get him at 2-1, 3-1, even if he doesn't win, I look at the American side, and we have to remember, guys, certain players, the best, will play in all the matches. They sit guys, and they usually sit the rookies. They sit guys who just get in as captain's picks. So, but Scheffler's going to be out there all the time with a chance to make a lot of, to get points for the United States. His point total is 2.5 total points. I like the over there. I like him as top American there. But I told Morency's the same as me. I think he likes Europe in this thing. And I'm telling you, that's a great price for Europe on a course I think they'll do very well on.
But it should be noted that plus 175, whatever, plus 180, that's ties lose, right, Cam?
Yes.
That's
right.
Yeah, that's a three-way bet. So it's not really plus 180. It's like plus 125 if you take it out of it. How often are these things a tie is the question.
Very rarely.
Because it's a big difference.
Never.
It's a big difference, Scott, getting plus 175 or plus 125, right? Just for that, the three-way, two-way. Yeah. I almost would look to sprinkle, but I'm pretty bold. I think Europe are going to roll them. I think Scotty Scheffler will play well, but I think Europe are going to roll them. Europe are just deeper. They got better players right now. And a lot of these American players haven't played Bethpage, and when they haven't played well there. I agree with Paul Azinger. That was the big thing that Paul Azinger said, that he doesn't, for the love of God, he said, I don't know why they picked that golf course. He goes, the players don't play well there. They don't like it. And he said he spoke to players that play the American team, and they don't like the course. They're admitting they're not liking the course. I don't think the Euro guys care about the course. I think they've got thicker skin. I'm going to be on Euro, and I like that Scheffler play too, Cam. I mean, like you said, he's going to get more, matchups. He's going to play more than anybody else, so why wouldn't he get more points?
The thing too, Gabe, is I watch a lot of golf, and when you're watching the European Tour, they play in different countries like France. Then they play in altitude. They play long. They play short. That's the whole thing. When you're on the PGA Tour, you have the California swing where you go low. You play the Florida swing. If winds pick up, it's very difficult. But Bethpage Black, when I'm looking, to Gabe's point, Scott, these guys play everywhere. And you know what I mean? And also, it's 7,400 yards, and it's going to be damp. Who's the biggest driver of the golf ball other than DeChambeau? And the guy sprays it everywhere. Rory. But he hits it straight and long. John Rahm. That's the whole thing. I'm looking at these guys in Europe going long, long, long. They have a lot of guys who can nail it off the tee. Hatton can hit it. It's the whole thing. It comes down to putting. I look at the American team too, and I'm looking at some guys. They're not in good form. Colin Morikawa had a horrible year, right? Sam Burns he's good. They'll probably team him up with Scheffler because they're best friends. But I look at Europe and I'm like, Fleetwood finally got the monkey off his back. John Rahm ripping it up on Live. The last 5 tournaments, he was on fire. Rory, one of the best golfers in the world. We talk about this, and I'm looking at these guys going, even their rookie, Højgaard. This guy's a top 5-10 machine in every tournament, be it in Europe or be it in the United States. So I see a lot of value, guys. But Gabe, you're right. And want to hear the craziest thing? I just did a hit with Adam Kaufman on in Game Live, before the show here on Game Time Decisions. Do you know they have a bet boost? You get, and this is Gabe, this is the one with ties, whatever. It's plus 120 on Europe and plus 140. I'm like, how is that even possible? That's what he told me. I'm like, so you bet both sides to plus money and you win? They max it out at 100 or 200, depending on what you got in your account. But you know what I'm saying, Scott? But you can't lose that bet on the bet boost because no, it's including ties. It's two-lift trophy. It's called two-lift trophy. You get USA and Europe. Most people will get it at 100. I don't know what they shake it off at, 100 or 200, but say you bet it, you can't lose. You either win 20, 40, and if you have bigger amounts on those bets, you can win double the money. I'm like, wow, that's really interesting. So I got to dig a little bit deeper into that.
All right, let me ask you a dumb question, but I think a poignant one for people that don't gamble that much with this stuff. For the Ryder Cup, you could bet on how many points a player will get, right? So dumb question.
Yes.
For twosomes, which you have a lot of, or foursomes, do they, if your team wins, does each one of those golfers for a twosome get 1 point, or do they get a half a point? How does that work?
No, they get
for
full
individual
points.
scoring.
Singles, you get full points. You get full for everything. For people that don't know, let me explain. It's 28 points total. To win the Ryder Cup, you need 14.5. To push, 14-14. But if it's 14-14, Europe wins because they won the last Ryder Cup. Team to win last retains trophy. That's the way it works. So
I get that. I get that. But you like Scotty Scheffler to get 3 points or more. So when Scotty Scheffler's teaming up with Joe Schmo and they win, do they get a half a point each, or do they get 1 point each?
They get a full point each. They get a full point.
They both get a full point. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
That's the thing.
That, but that's it's good to know because who knows? Maybe they split it because they got to even up with the actual score he's scoring. But no,
you're my bet, Scott. Yeah, like Scott. What I'm saying right now is Scheffler's 2.5. It's a little bit of juice. 3 points. Say he goes out there and gets 2, and remember they play singles on Sunday. He wins his match. That's another point. And Scheffler will not be on the bench. He will never be on the bench. Like there is no way that Captain Keegan Bradley will say, Scotty Scheffler, you're sitting this one out. If he does, he'll
unless
never
he goes like 0 for 6, which isn't going to happen, Kev. If he goes 0 for 4 or something, he's shaking balls.
I just wanted to make sure
he'd have to get hurt.
Scheffler. Yes.
I just wanted to make sure both golfers get one. They don't split
they
one.
Do.
The team gets just one. I get that. But the player, if you're betting these individual points for players, they both get 1 point. Okay.
And if you look, Scott and Gabe, you look at the guys who are 1, those are the rookies and the wild card picks, right? So like on the European side, Højgaard's 1. JJ Spawn 1. It's all the juice because the thing is, think about it. These guys have one match bet where they even have, let's just say they tie. They get a half point. They win their singles. It's 1.5. You win. It's 1 flat. But you do have to lay, some guys are 10 cents, 25 cents, 35 cents, whatever. But the juice isn't even bad. I do like Cameron Young as the Americans' rookie. One reason, New York guy. What does he do well? Bomb the ball. What did he do at the end of the year? Almost won the Canadian Open, finally got the monkey off his back and won a tournament. Plus 175. This is a guy I think is going to probably do well. They'll match him up. I think they're going to, I wouldn't even be shocked if they put Cameron Young with Scotty Scheffler once. I know they're going to probably put him with Burns because they're friends, but I think Cameron Young at plus 175. And he, Gabe, to your point, is the one guy that knows Bethpage Black being a New York guy. He knows this course more than the other guys coming in there. So I think it's a very solid pick for a guy that's playing good golf.
18-4 home teams have won the last 18 of the last 22. So we'll see what happens. Starts on Friday. Dan, great job, man. We'll do it again soon. Thanks.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel, I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The Early Line, only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
right, welcome back. In-game live game day here on the grid. Little bonus as we get Cam for another segment. How about that? Because he's got some Thursday night football stuff. Halfway decent game, little NFC West battle here, Cam. So how do you see this one prevailing? Seattle's owned this series over Arizona. Kyler Murray stinks against the NFC West. I'll give you the numbers here in a second, but how do you see this one playing out?
Yeah, and Seattle's won the last, like they own Arizona, like the last 7 in the series. And I'm going to tell you one thing, as a Seahawk fan, I'm very happy with the way they're progressing. Arizona's good. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, you know what I mean? They could have beat San Francisco in that game, but I really like what McDonald's doing. I'm surprised at the way the defense has been playing. And I'll tell you, this offensive line, Gray Zabel, the first-round draft pick, and all these guys are putting it together, and they're giving Sam Darnold time. And once he gets time, he could do well. Jackson Smith in Jigba, first touchdown is almost 9-1. I think he's plus 850 on FanDuel, one of my books. I think that's great. He's been an absolute machine. Kenneth Walker's had 3 touchdowns in the last 2 games. I told Gabe today, I like the Seahawks, but it's a very difficult game. But Seattle's very good on the road, and they always play well against Arizona. It's -1.5, -115 on basically the money line, and I like the under. I don't love it, but I know 43.5 is very low, but I don't see this game turning into a shootout like Baltimore and Detroit. But I like the Seahawks big time in this game.
Yeah, the numbers, I will say, for Kyler Murray, I'll pin it on him, but just in general, like Seattle, so they've beaten Arizona 7 in a row. Yep. Arizona versus the NFC West, 8-22. First half lines, 1-14 versus NFC West teams as well. Arizona 7-15 against the spread versus NFC West games. There's nothing. Arizona 4-18 straight up after facing San Francisco, which they did last week. I mean, they're really outside of them being home, Gabe and Cam. I don't know. I don't know what you could say positively about Arizona, except
they're a better road team. Scott,
Kyler Murray's got to step up. Yeah, they are. It's weird, but
they
Kyler's
don't
got to step up sooner or later.
Yeah, but it's not just the quarterback, right? I mean, how much talent have they had? How much talent have they? So if you want to blame them for that, do you give them credit for being 27-12 against the spread on the road?
That's good.
You can't go both ways.
It's
right?
weird.
You can't go both ways. You can't say.
Why would they be so good on the road and so bad at home? It's the strangest thing.
They've always been a bad home team, just historically, for whatever reason. Their problem is this year, though, their defense has been playing well. They can't score. And speaking of the total tomorrow, something that catches my eye about this game, number one, something that's impressive with Seattle is now someone's getting kicked out of the game here in the Blue Jays game. The umpire's getting into it with the Blue Jays dugout. The Seattle Seahawks haven't given up a rushing touchdown this year. They're the only team in the National Football League still not to surrender a rushing touchdown. And something that caught my eye about this is Arizona. They take 33 seconds to snap the ball. That's a long time, right? That's the slowest pace. It's the slowest pace in the National Football League. And to me, Scott, that's sort of like you're putting your team in a bad spot like that by doing this. Like, you don't want to limit. In the modern era, guys, you want to maximize the plays, your snaps per game, not limit them.
Yeah.
Right? That was the whole thing like with Luka Doncic. Luka Doncic is awesome and all that. Yeah, he's great, but he's a massive defensive liability, and it used to really piss the Mavericks off because Luka walks the ball up the court because he's not in good shape. Like, he's slow. So he walks the ball up the court all the time, and the Mavericks were getting like 17 less possessions a game than other teams. So it's like, yeah, all right, Luka, you're getting 30 a night and stuff, but the other teams are getting 17 more shots a game than we are because you're so slow. Right? Like, there's a reason why they got rid of him, to be honest. Like, it was angering them to no lengths. So I just find it curious, too, like, if you're Arizona, really? Why do you want to shorten the game so much, right? Like, what are you scared of? But they do, but I think it does. I think it's an under, guys, and I hate betting unders, guys, but I think it's an under tomorrow, too.
Yeah, Gabe, I see, like, this game, like, 21-17. Like, it's just one of those games. We knew Baltimore and Detroit would light it up, and I watched you guys, and I know you were both on the over in the Detroit-Baltimore game like myself, and that was fireworks. These teams don't have the ability to put up numbers like that, and I think the defenses will step up. One thing about Seattle, though, and the only Achilles heel, guys, they're bad against the tight end. San Francisco's third-string tight end scored. You know what I mean? That's the one thing they have a problem, and Trey McBride is a very good player. A lot of the time he'll get targets and yards. That's something that I'm concerned about with this game. That's what I worry about with Seattle, but they've been playing really good football. And I like that 1-2 punch with Walker and Charbonnet. I think they got some good backs and they can beat these guys down. The offensive line's been better than advertised.
Tells you something that they're road favorites, right? I mean, I don't know if that's an indictment on Arizona or a prop to Seattle, but, you know, two evenly matched teams and the home team on a Thursday is not the favorite. Little surprise, Cam, though.
Yeah, but the thing is, like, you know, they were in that game against San Francisco. I didn't like their game plan because they were running Charbonnet and he did well, and then they went to Walker and, you know, he's not the battering ram that Charbonnet is. I like when they go 1-2 punch, running back by committee. Then in Pittsburgh, I know the Pittsburgh Steelers screwed up that game, but Seattle got all over Rodgers in that game. Last week it was the Saints, I get it, but they've been playing really, really well. And McDonald doesn't screw around. Like, if you're not playing well, he'll bench you. Witherspoon is awesome. Like, they have some guys who are even hurt, and the guys who have stepped in have done great work for Seattle. So, hey, I like Seattle. I like the under. I think it's going to be a pretty tight game.
Any other props that you had mentioned? Anything else stand out?
Smith-Njigba, first touchdown plus 850. Anytime touchdown plus 160. I don't know who you guys like for Arizona, and Walker's had 3 touchdowns in his last 2 games. So, and the best thing is all these props are plus money too. You don't have to lay juice.
James Conner out for the Arizona Cardinals. So Trey Benson. Benson's a hot fantasy pickup type of player, but he's plus 110 to score a touchdown, no value. But Marvin Harrison Jr., guys, I don't know if you saw last week, a really like inexcusable drop, Scott. It's another thing too. Is that Kyler Murray's fault? Like, you saw that? Like, it's like, dude, that, you know, that wasn't that was ugly. That wasn't like, oh, okay, it was a mistake. That was like, dude, like, that can't happen, right? You know what I mean? It was a big play. It was a one possession game. I wonder. I think Seattle will beat them, but I like the under.
We'll talk more about it tomorrow for sure. Cam, good job, man. Appreciate it, and we'll do it again soon.
Take care, guys.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Cam Stewart, joining us as he does every Wednesday and Friday, giving us his Ryder Cup picks, little Thursday night football, and then on Friday, no doubt he'll go some college football and some NFL from the Sunday games. First up, before we do anything else, before we head back to the baseball games, how about a little Black Cloud play of the day? All right. Sadly, we're running out of days in which we can bet against the Colorado Rockies. And, the end of the season is coming up. Yesterday, thank you very much, guys, for reminding me. Kelsey Mitchell did not have 21 points. That was the fear we had, that they were going to get blown out. I really didn't think they would, but they did. And it was just a complete collapse for Indiana last night at WNBA. So back to the well we go. Still 22 games over 500. We're going to use that Colorado-Seattle game. A little danger in that Seattle clinched last night, and they did celebrate, but they still got to win the division. So I think, maybe they celebrated a little bit. I'm going to use the guy who had the big hit, Josh Naylor. A little bases clearing triple at the bottom of the eighth, and they gave them the victory. He has been on fire. We're going to use him one hit. It's minus 250. We don't generally do that too often with the Black Cloud. I'd like to keep it manageable. If you want to go two bases, that's even money if you want to. He's got hits in 14 of his last 15 games, though. He's on absolute fire. 8 of those games, he's had 2 hits or more. He's hitting over 350 in the month of September. He's just 11 of the 15 games. He's had 2 bases or more. That's why I say if you want to go the bases and lower it, you can do that, because I do think he gets 2 bases, whether it's via a double or triple home run, or he just gets 2 hits. Like I said, he's had 8 times. But the guy's on fire. Colorado stinks. We know that. And Seattle's still playing for something, Gabe. So give me Naylor getting at least 1 hit, minus 250.
Yeah, he's a great young player. Last night we were on the wrong side of this. We liked Seattle to roll last night. They ended up coming back and winning the game, but they only won by 1 run, and we had the minus 1.5. I assume they'll win by 2 runs or more this evening, but I've got my eye, actually. I've got my eye right now on, obviously, the Blue Jays and the Red Sox. It's 4-0. The Blue Jays are just melting down. Vlad Guerrero's been kicked out of the game. He's been struggling for the last 2 weeks. The Jays are starting to feel the pressure right now, and Red Sox are rolling them. And if the Blue Jays fall apart, they're going to have to play the Red Sox next week in the playoffs. And it looks like the Red Sox are in the Blue Jays' head a little bit right now. But keeping our eye on the NHL preseason. The first game went over 4-2. Panthers win as big dogs, but we got a 2-1 game going on right now. And one of my picks, Scott, tonight, the Vancouver Canucks. The Canucks lost their season opener on the road. Now they're playing tonight, and it's not in Vancouver. It's in Abbotsford, British Columbia, which is, I don't know, it's like an hour or whatever, an hour and a half outside of Vancouver. But their farm team won the Calder Cup last year. They beat the Panthers team. They won the AHL championship. The Canucks, it's like I said, preseason hockey is strange with the dynamic of the rosters. The Canucks have about 4 or 5 regulars playing tonight. Quinn Hughes isn't playing. Pettersson isn't playing, but a couple of starters are, including Thatcher Demko, who, when healthy, Scott, is one of the best goalies in the National Hockey League. Demko's locked in. He's poised for a big year. And the Canucks are playing in their AHL building tonight. And so it's a big deal there. And the Canucks are going to want to show up for these fans. And also, there's a bunch of players from the AHL team that are playing in this game tonight, trying to crack, get on the Canucks, etc. It just sets up perfectly for the Canucks tonight. And they're only it's like minus 130, minus 135. Flames played last night, too, and don't have a very strong roster tonight. So I like the Vancouver Canucks. This game is coming up at 9:30 Eastern time.
Yeah. How about, I know you're playing all unders, but let's just say you're not playing that, throw that out of the equation. Seattle-Edmonton starts top of the hour. It's 6.5, Gabe. Edmonton's played 3 preseason games. 3-0, 3-2, 3-2. Is it too easy to say
on the under
6.5? Right.
I did it again. I played every under. I already did it. I would say, yeah. I mean, I love this under here. And I would even argue that the Kraken at plus 175. I mean, Scott, it's preseason hockey, bro. Why the Carolina Hurricanes were minus 300 favorites tonight? Why?
That's crazy.
Oh, because the Panthers lost 5-0 the other game, and they're not playing anybody. Okay, like I just said, if you know anything, and I brought it up on my podcast, the Florida Panthers farm team made it to the championship. Like, they've got a bunch of prospects, and their AHL team is good. So their minor league, their minor league team is good, Scott. That's who's playing in these games. And they won tonight. They were down 2-0. They won 4-2. It's plus 280 dogs.
There you go. Not bad. Hour number 2 coming up next.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, welcome back. It is in-game live game day here on the grid. Started hour number 2. We got baseball. We got a little Ryder Cup golf. We got some preseason exhibition hockey. I don't know. Is it allowed to say exhibition? I know it's allowed to football. You forget about it. You lose your job. You say exhibition football. But I think you can get away with that in the NHL. So
they call it preseason, technically. The official term. I know it's always different. There's spring training, this and that.
Exhibition?
But preseason.
Yeah, preseason. God forbid.
But it is an exhibition game tonight. They are exhibition games.
They are, right? I'm guaranteed it's something to do with just we charging you full season ticket.
Oh yeah,
prices.
yeah, exactly. So you're asking why don't they like the word exhibition? Yeah, exactly.
Yes, exhibition.
No, it's not.
Yeah, that's
you notice how they make sure they get the word season in there, right?
Yeah.
It's part of the season. It's preseason, right? And they certainly make you buy the preseason tickets too, Scott, which is like, you know, man, how the hell, like, imagine being an NHL season ticket holder. Like, how many games you got to go to 50 games a year?
Yeah.
Plus the playoffs. It was time for that, or the money for that.
Yeah. I don't know. I always said that about some of these seasons, like the USC football. That was the one that kind of came to mind, where you get your championship taken away. And I've always had this debate, and I've told people, like, no, they don't want to take these things away unless they really, 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 really have to. Why? Because there's going to be some fans that are going to sue college football. I'll use them as the example of like the Houston Astros. People were saying, "Oh, take the World Series away." Well, all those people that had paid all that money for those playoff tickets are now going to be suing baseball, saying, "Well, if you're telling me that didn't count, then I want my money back." You know, so it opens up a can of worms. It does. So let's talk a little football. VegasInsider.com. Our good buddy Paul Bovey joins us now to kick off hour number 2. What's going on, Paul? How are you tonight?
The Blue Jays are playing right now, Paul. You can go to a baseball game.
Yeah.
We were just talking about the Leafs. It's preseason exhibition, as Scott was just saying. So you're not getting real hockey there. And the Raptors, I guess the NBA preseason a couple of weeks away, right? I mean, it's around the corner. You know what's interesting, though, just quickly about that? The NBA is strange. It's the strangest league ever. The NBA players don't play in the regular season, but you'll notice their star players play in the preseason. It's the strangest thing ever.
Yeah.
Like NBA starters play in the preseason. Like LeBron will play like 18 minutes, 20 minutes. Like they don't play the 4, but they play. And I've always found that strange. It's like you guys don't play when the games count, but you all play in the preseason. So it's just very strange to me. But whatever. Sorry. Let's talk football.
Yeah,
that's right.
You get into hockey games on the cheap. My girl's been asking me to take her to a hockey game, so I won't tell her it's preseason. I'll just get in for $15 and just, it's a great game.
Not in Toronto, you won't. It'll still cost you.
Hockey is expensive.
It'll still.
It's
crazy
what they charge.
Yeah, the thing is, they're fighting in this stuff anyways. Like the Colorado Avalanche got in a big fight the other night. The Leafs and the Senators got into a brawl. The casual fan would not be able to know whether it was an exhibition or a real game or not. That's the beautiful thing about hockey. These guys are crazy. They play hard all the time.
It's all that pent-up anger over the summer. These guys are just ready to unleash, and that's what happens. And, these guys, it's in their DNA to fight. We all know that, especially American players. But, that's the way it is. It's hockey.
Let's talk a little baseball here. We'll start there, Paul. Got the Tigers losing again. Gabe and I have been talking about it, obviously for more than just the last couple of days, but they're losing again 3-1. Got the Mets losing, but Gabe and I have been following the Mets, whether they're winning or losing. There's always a ton of runs being scored. So any thoughts on either one of those two games or any other game that's going on right now?
Baseball has become, it's a free-for-all in the playoffs. Who knows? The Mets are a sinking ship, but they might turn around and who knows? They might end up in the the National League finals. You just don't know with baseball and how they set these playoffs up. But it's gotten interesting. All these races are close. Look at the Dodgers. I mean, everybody expected them to run away, and now they're in a race. So it's interesting over these last 5 days, and I'll certainly be tuning in.
How about football on Thursday tomorrow? Arizona, Seattle, Gabe and I were talking. Little surprised Arizona's a home underdog for a Thursday game.
Arizona's offense has really stunk it up this year. I mean, they have held on. They held on for dear life in the opener against Carolina. They have not played well. And last week, I actually took a bet on them not to make the playoffs before last week's loss to the 49ers, 16-15. So I think I'm in a good spot. I wouldn't be banking on Seattle heavily this week just because they still have those injuries. And I think the score against the Saints, as we all know, it was very misleading. There was a block punt, an 11-yard drive, and then there was a drive aided by penalties where there were basically 2 receptions of 29 and 12 yards. So that score made a lot of survivor players, contestants happy. I had a few, but it was misleading. And I see this as being a close game. I wouldn't go either way, but I can't trust these offenses at all. And there's injuries to both sides, notably to the Seahawks defense, which they had this past week, and they weren't exposed at all. The Saints weren't able to expose them. But who knows? Maybe Arizona will just start to get it going on offense, but I wouldn't bank on it.
Can Arizona exploit it? That's, they're, like you said, Paul, their offense struggling. Now Connor's out. Marvin Harrison Jr. with the big-time drop last week. They were a play away from winning that game. I mean, there was a penalty, and then McCaffrey had a big run late. Like, Arizona nearly pulled it out, but their offense has struggled. Speaking of struggling, what do you think of Jackson Dart getting the start for the Giants and the point spread up to 6.5 right now? against the Chargers.
All I can tell you is Russell Wilson as a signing made no sense. And I said it to you earlier. We did a few segments a short time ago, and I said it made absolutely no sense. You got Jameis Winston. What's the point? This guy is turning into the Carmelo Anthony of the NFL. He's running out of teams to go to. I mean, how many is it over the last few years? If he goes to another one, will that be his fifth? He should have hung it up in 2022, walked off into the sunset, like Roger Staubach or John Elway. But instead, they hang around and they taint their legacy. And that's what's going on right now. But Jackson Dart, if anything, may give them an infusion of energy. Russell Wilson did have that great game against Dallas, but that's Dallas. Everybody has a great game against Dallas. But I think they have a shot here, and I'll tell you why. The Chargers have several injuries on defense, notably to Khalil Mack, Cam Hart at the cornerback position. They lost Perriman. They have actually 4 key injuries. I'm not sure if these guys are going to play, but right now they're questionable. 2 guys are on the IR, Mack and Perriman, but the other 2 guys are questionable. And I think the Chargers are just ripe for an upset here.
Talking some football, Paul Volpe, VegasInsider.com. Paul, hold on the line. We'll get you some thoughts on some of the other games that are coming up on Sunday as well. In-game live GameDay continues here on the Grid.
Enter into the magical world of McLuck.com, where even the smallest of spins can win real cash prizes. Adventure into over 1,000 of the best Vegas-style slot games. So what are you waiting for? Unlock your free welcome offer today. Join the fun where winners play and players win.
I needed a mental break when the season was over. Because it's a lot. It's a lot. You get tired of training. But, man, I never get tired of playing golf. I love it. I mean, every course is different. Every day is different. And some days you're like, oh, I got this. I got it. Then you go out there and shoot a 95 the next day. I'm like, damn.
The Smiley Show. Only on SportsGrid.
I mean, I think so. You talk about how difficult it is to bring an expansion team into the league and have success in your first season. Like, that's fairly unheard of. And not only have success, but they're in the playoffs. So I think she certainly deserves to win Coach of the Year. There's a lot of different candidates that could potentially, you could make a case for them. But I think just with this being an expansion team and how difficult that is.
Betting above the rim. Only on SportsGrid.
It was nice to see that even though they couldn't follow the same blueprint as last season, or just the way that everyone thought their offense was going to run this year, Josh Jacobs struggled and Jordan Love stepped up. And if you're a Packer fan, that's what you were hoping to see, is that in the moments where you can't rely on the run, can the quarterback that you invested a lot of money into, now draft capital, putting weapons around him, rise to the occasion, and he did.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Talking some football. Paul Bovey, VegasInsider.com. We'll update a couple of quick baseball scores. Listen, again, it's goofy. I get that, but 14 in a row. Tampa Bay beats Baltimore 6-2. 14th straight home game for the Orioles that goes under. The over-under was 8.5. I mean, who's betting that game? You know what? A trend is a trend. So Stanks lead the White Sox 5-1. Red Sox still 7-0. Cubbies 5-0 over the Mets. We'll get back to the baseball board. Bottom of the ninth, that's the big one. Pirates holding on to a 2-1 lead with the Skeens on the hill, or at least he started anyway, pitched 7 innings, 2-1 over Cincinnati. So what do you make, Paul, of the international game? I'm not a big fan of these, but it is Minnesota laying 2.5 against Pittsburgh. Speaking of, Aaron Rodgers and the Steelers, international favorites for whatever reason, 36-13-1 straight up, and almost identical, 32-18 against the spread. What do you make of that? And would you use that and take Minnesota laying a 2.5?
I would lean to Minnesota, but I do not trust Carson Wentz. I just don't. The guy, he started off hot when he first got into the league, and then he's just flubbed consistently throughout thereafter, and I don't trust him. But I certainly don't trust the Pittsburgh Steelers these days, because that team does not look good at all. They have multiple injuries on defense to boot, and their offense just looks stuck in the mud. You talk about a team that was fortunate. We look to the Pittsburgh Steelers on Sunday, courtesy of 5 New England turnovers, several within the 5 yards of the end zone. So I don't trust either team, but I would lean to Minnesota. But then that's a weak lean just because of the quarterback.
Yeah, one thing for Carson Wentz to light it up at home against the Bengals without Burrow, then going on the road and going to Germany. The Colts and Rams game suddenly, the Colts are surprising people. Daniel Jones is getting a lot of love, Paul, but the fact is they're running the ball very effectively, right? So it's putting Daniel Jones in a good situation. But now they play the Rams. They're getting 3.5, and then you got the game of the week with the Ravens and the Chiefs. The loser of the Ravens and the Chiefs game is going to be 1-3. Critical game for both teams.
Absolutely. As far as Daniel Jones, look, man, I've been on this show and I've been a supporter for the last few years, blaming things on the Giants' offensive line. And I think it's been partly just a resurrection of Daniel Jones. I saw a lot of good in Daniel Jones, which is how he scored the bag with the Giants a few years ago. But there's also been a lot of bad. But this year, he's lit it up. He's going to multiple different receivers. What concerns me is for Sunday, Alec Pierce sustained a concussion, and I'm not sure if he's going to play, and that was one of his major targets. But they're getting the running game going. He's been dumping it off effectively, screen passes, getting it to the tight end. But the Rams do put pressure on the quarterback, and, of course, they're going to be an angry team after they blew that game in the worst of ways if you took the points plus 3.5, which I was a victim of. I just can't even believe it.
I don't like the term bad beat, but that was a sickening beat. Like, it does come on. It's one thing, guys, like when you saw the field goal was blocked, it's like, all right, whatever, it's blocked. Somebody fall on the ball.
Too.
Yeah, and then, of course, like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, ricocheted. Yeah.
Yeah.
How about Baltimore, Kansas City? Gabriel. Yeah, it was Baltimore, Kansas.
Look, go ahead, Scott. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, I know why. We know why Kansas City's 1-2, because their wide receivers are all hurt. Do we see a reason outside of their schedule? They're not playing Topeka High, Baltimore here. They're not losing to the Tennessee Titans. Is it just a product of a tough schedule, or do you see something physically, mentally, whatever wrong with the Ravens?
They certainly sustained a few injuries on defense, no doubt. Van Noy is out. They have another key player out. And I think that really showed up against the Lions. They were thoroughly exploited throughout the game. Against Buffalo, look, they had that game under wraps, and that Derrick Henry fumble cost them the game, and you could make an argument that it possibly cost them the game the other night as well. I definitely think the Ravens have some edges here, and you pointed it out. Kansas City has no punch on offense at this point, and until they're able to sustain drives and get the ball in the end zone, they're certainly not going to be able to trade scores with the Baltimore Ravens. I would lean Ravens here. Of course, there's questions on the defense, but again, can Kansas City exploit them? I just don't know. I just don't know that they can do what Detroit did last week. Detroit's in a different class than Kansas City from an offensive perspective.
And that was like an historic game that Aiden Hutchinson had too. That wasn't like normal, like what he did. Like he was blowing it up, tackling. He was like Superman out there. It was literally like an historical performance. I think Scott I don't think they're imperfect, this football team. Like Scott, like you said, Paul, they don't have the Baltimore Raven defense just isn't as good as it used to be, right? Ed Reed's not walking in, and the Ray Lewis is like they don't have that leader type stuff anymore, right? Van Noy's been around. Hamilton's probably their best player. It's never a good sign if your safety's your best defensive player, right? So, to me, they kind of lack talent there. But, Scott, I kind of think it's like, all right, they lost to Buffalo and they lost to Detroit. I think they're going to beat up on inferior teams.
Right. Yeah.
I will tell you this. I'm sure the Kansas City defensive linemen are licking their chops after they saw Lamar Jackson go down 7 times. All of a sudden, you figure Lamar Jackson, he could never be sacked 7 times because he's too elusive. But it happened. So you wonder about the offensive line of the Ravens and, if they've lost something, because they came in with new players last year and they gelled quickly. They had a great year, but it fell apart the other night.
Paul, great job, man. Check out all his work. Check out the website, VegasInsider.com. Thanks, Paul. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, guys.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Thanks again, Paul Bovey. VegasInsider.com. VegasInsider.com joins us from time to time, talking a little NFL. So, Reds, nice job, down 2-0 against Pittsburgh. You know, maybe season on the line to a certain extent anyway. And lo and behold, they rally and they tie. They get one in the bottom of the 8th. They get one in the bottom of the 9th. So extra innings they go, tied 2-2 with the Pittsburgh Pirates, who are obviously playing for nothing. So extra inning goofiness. Who knows what can happen here? But good job by the Reds. Facing Skeens, who pitched well. He got 7 strikeouts. His number today was 6.5, so that went over. And I think he went 6 innings as well, so his outs hit as well. This might be his last start of the season. We'll see. So 2-2 there. Yanks still lead the White Sox game 5-1, top of the 8th inning. Nothing crazy. Blue Jays put a runner in 7-1, though they still trail. And Guards looking for more, leading Detroit 3-1, bottom of the 7th inning. Wow, that is just like, it's just, I don't feel sorry for fan bases too often, but I don't necessarily have a dog in the fight. I mean, listen, I don't want to get my Red Sox in there, but I feel bad for the fan base of the Detroit Tigers. You know, I've been on the other side of these things, and they just, man, they can't buy a win. Just cannot buy a win. Down 3-1. They're getting 13-1 if you think they're going to make some crazy comeback tonight.
Yeah, it's really snowballed for the Detroit Lions, man.
Yeah.
For the Detroit Tigers over the last couple of weeks. I just bet on the Reds at -140. Should have taken them when they were down earlier, but watching the game right now, the stadium's going crazy, the crowd's engaged. You know, it's pretty much a must win, right? They're one game out of a wild card right now, but there's not a lot of real estate left. You know, you don't want to find yourselves 2 back and then take, you know, you want to kind of sort of control your own destiny as much as you possibly can. The D-backs, they're tied with the D-backs, Scott, right? They came into tonight a game back of the Mets and tied with the D-backs. And the D-backs are not intimidated by the Dodgers, right? We've seen this in the past. The D-backs beat the Dodgers in the playoffs a couple of years ago. As a Dodger fan, I never liked playing the division teams in the playoffs. San Diego beat us in the playoffs a couple of years ago. Arizona did. We got San Diego back last year, but they're not scared of the Dodgers. Like they play us, you know, they play the Dodgers all the time. It's just, it's not, I'd rather play other teams, so to speak, than the teams. Then they know the pitching staff. Everybody knows each other so well. It's very similar with the Yankees and Red Sox, right? They know each other just so well and could end up playing against each other. But I jumped in on the Reds at -140. And the Dodger game, Arizona games always start at that weird 6:40 Pacific, 9:40 Eastern time. So that game's around the corner. If you want to get in on the Vancouver Canuck game, I'm taking the Canucks and the under 5.5 in that hockey game. And then that Dodger game starts in about 13 minutes.
Yeah. Listen, the Reds do hold the tie. I will say that they got a couple things going for themselves, by the way, tonight. One, the Mets are losing 6-0. Now, that's we've seen come that 5-1 last night. They came back and won, so it's not over, but that's a good sign. And the Reds hold the tiebreaker not only against the Mets, but Arizona as well. So they're one back. You know, the Mets tied with Arizona, but they're kind of like all thrown into the mix there. It's almost like tied. So this would be a huge win. If they could get this win and then have the Mets go ahead and lose, no matter what happens with Arizona, they would be sitting technically in that third tiebreaker. They close out the season 3-game series, though, at Milwaukee. I think that at that point, the Brewers would be playing for nothing, so that might not be as bad a series as you could kind of see.
The playoff shuffle changes. It changes like basically daily right now. Like if the playoffs started today, it's going to change quite a bit daily over the next couple of days.
Yeah. It almost doesn't even it's not even worth saying if they were starting today, because even with like 4 or 5 games left, it's crazy this could happen. You know, teams getting in, teams getting number 2 seed, getting the division win.
Yeah, I mean, Cincinnati, the Mets, scenarios. Arizona. I mean, this thing's going to come down. And then you got the American League side of things, although if Houston don't, it'll be kind of crazy that Sacramento, the A's, will be the ones that'll put that nail in the Astros' coffin this year. They got to win games. They got to win tonight.
You got some real, you get a collapse every once in a while, but you got 3 major stories if, it doesn't happen. If Detroit doesn't get in, and like I said, they're losing tonight. They got 1 more against Cleveland, and then they got 3 against Boston. So and now they're going to be battling the Red Sox now for the wild card. Then you got the Mets who are going in a free fall collapse. And then you got the Astros that have just completely fallen apart. I mean, you got like 3 major collapse.
Don't forget the Dodgers bullpen story. That's a collapse, too. I mean, they're barely hanging on to the division, too. They're lucky San Diego lost today.
Yeah, amazing. So, Rohit Panaya will join us next to do a little baseball, a little NFL with him right here on the Grid.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
All right, welcome back in Game Live. Game Day here on the Grid. Scott and Gabe checking out a little baseball here. Pittsburgh did score top of the 10th inning. We'll keep you posted on that. They lead 3-2, still batting in the top of the 10th over the Cincinnati Reds. So let's talk a little baseball, but a little NFL as well with our good buddy Rohit Panaya from Covers.com, one of my favorite websites, Covers.com. Rohit, Scott, and Gabe, how are you today, bud?
Good, man. It's been some fun games. A lot of really good pitchers on the mound tonight.
Yeah, Gabe and I were talking about it. The team's collapsing. We'll start with I know you have a play on the Houston game, so we'll start there, right? What's going on with the Astros? I mean, really, it's been a season-long thing, but they're picking the worst time, obviously, to go into another funk. How are you going to attack Houston versus the A's, who have beaten the Astros 6 straight this season?
Well, the main thing is I'm not going to put any faith in that Astros lineup. They've just been terrible. They've been hitting so poorly. I mean, obviously not having Pena there. You don't know when Jordan's going to ever come back. Probably not this year. But, they can't hit at all. So I'm just going to take them out of the equation. I think there's a lot of value in just backing Hunter Brown to have another good game. He's been so good. He's been so consistent. His 2.5 earned runs is sitting at about -140, depending on your book now. Opened at about -120. He's gone under that number in 10 straight starts, 2.30 ERA, 1.01 whip. I mean, this guy has been one of the top pitchers in the majors, and he's been doing it at a consistent level. You look at the A's, and yeah, they do have some big bats, but they haven't been hitting so well lately either. Last couple of weeks, they've really struggled at the plate. They've been shut out twice in their last 3 games. So I think a lot of value in the under 2.5 earned runs for Brown. we've seen tonight a lot of that playoff atmosphere, a lot of really good pitching. We've seen runs at a premium. So I think that continues into this one. I think there's a lot of value in backing the under or the under 2.5 earned runs.
Interesting play. Under 2.5 runs for Brown. Another pitcher that's smoking hot. I went over his numbers earlier, but Blake Snell, 23 strikeouts in his last 2 starts, 0 earned runs allowed in his last 2 starts. He went 13 innings in his last 2 starts. His strikeout prop tonight is 6.5. I'm playing the over. I think the Dodgers have seen enough of their bullpen, right? And will not. I don't think they're going to be in a hurry to pull Blake Snell tonight. Like generally. I'm expecting Snell to go 6-7. Scott disagrees and thinks, I know you're playing the under-outs prop, Scott, but he's been so hot. Dodgers need to wrap this thing up and finish this off. I'm expecting a strong game from Snell. And honestly, he doesn't have to go 8 innings, right, for me to get 6.5 strikeouts, Ro. Right. But I like Snell a lot over 6.5 strikeouts tonight.
Yeah, I mean, that series has been electric. That win last night by the Diamondbacks was nuts with Perdomo bringing it in, but yeah, I mean, Snell's a tough matchup for them, and he's been on one lately, so I like that.
Any late games? Gabe and I both got burned with Seattle last night, laying the 1.5, right? I mean, who's laying 3-1, right? So, but right back to the well we're going. At least I am on Seattle laying the 1.5 tonight. It's -137 on FanDuel. Again, it's 3-1. They did clinch last night, but they still have things to do, like clinch the division championship. So, are you a layer 1.5 guy? Maybe the starting pitcher get the win, or do you stay away from games like that?
I don't have a great feel for the Mariners, and it's been kind of a weird up and down season for them, especially their home away splits have just been insane this year, and it's just one of those ones where it's very tough for me to get a feel for a team. And playing against the Rockies, you're going to get that -300. I mean, sometimes if I like that matchup, like I like Castillo on the mound, I might be just looking at first 5 innings. I think you might be able to get that at -200. For them to have a lead after 5 innings. So that's an angle I sometimes like in those situations. But generally, I'm just staying away from those, big minus money plays on a team that tends to be a bit inconsistent at times.
What do you make of the Tigers' collapse? Cleveland just tacked on 2 more runs, Rowan. 5-1, bottom of the 7th. I mean, barring something crazy, they're going to lose again. It's a 2-headed prong, right? I mean, not only are the Tigers losing, but Cleveland is winning. I mean, they've been on absolute fire. What would they be here? This would be 17-2 their last 19 games, 12-1 their last 13, and then the Tigers would be 1-11 their last 11, and including 8 straight losses. I mean, how do you figure this Detroit Tigers team?
Going into this year, I really did think they were World Series contenders, and I thought, I was proven right for most of the year, but this collapse has been bad. I mean, Scuball's been great, but so much of their pitching is, a disaster. I don't think they did enough to improve that bullpen. We kind of saw that with Montero earlier. And yeah, I mean, this bullpen does not seem postseason caliber right now. And yeah, this has been a meltdown. I don't know what to say. I mean, the Guardians on paper shouldn't be better than the Tigers, but they've certainly been better over the last month, and they're going to be ahead of them on the standings after tonight. So it's not looking good for Detroit here. Just another team, along with the Mets, along with all these other teams that have just collapsed, after playing so well at the start of the year.
You bet.
Go ahead.
I want to get to I want to throw out the MLS game, but I still have time for that. Where we can wrap that up later. You bet MLS at all, Rowan? I know you like to bet on different sports. Have you been riding the MLS wave this year?
I've been staying away from MLS. I don't really touch footy, soccer much. I'm big into rugby, actually. I get a lot of winning bets on rugby, especially playing those over in Europe. Nice. But I stay away from MLS.
Can I bet rugby? I can bet rugby. Rugby league, rugby union. Yeah, there you go.
The World Cup was tonight? Just last week, Scott.
Yeah.
The Women's World Cup of rugby was just last week. It was pretty intense.
Still going on. Canada's going to be in the final, so big.
Yeah, Canada made the final against England.
Yeah.
Wow. How about that? All right. How about more conventional? Seattle versus Arizona tomorrow night.
Yeah, I mean, I love this spot for the Mariners. I grabbed them on the money line as soon as I saw they were, I think, plus 100 when that line opened. They're sitting about minus 120 now. I just really like them in this spot. I don't put a whole lot of stock in the Cardinals' first 2 wins of the year. Saints, of course, might be the worst team in the league. Panthers don't look great as either. So, This is the best team they faced all year, I think. Sam Darnold's been playing really well at quarterback, and then you've got that defense that's been playing solid with Mike Dodd. I was a little bit concerned about some of those injuries there with some of those guys limited in practice this week, but it looks like Leonard Williams is going to play, Ernest Jones is going to play, Devin Witherspoon's coming back to that secondary. So all their pieces are kind of returning there, and I do think they're the better team here. So give me Seattle on the money line, and I also like Sam Darnold over passing yards. That's sitting at about 221.5. He had 218 passing yards last week against the Saints, and didn't even play in the fourth quarter in that one because they had such a big lead. He's going up against a Cardinals team that hasn't looked great in terms of pass defense. They played a lot of bad quarterbacks. They played, a backup quarterback with no weapons last week. And when they played against Bryce Young threw for more than 300 yards against them. So over passing yards, Sam Darnold, and Seattle on the money line.
Concerned at all about Arizona? Like, I'm not a big Kyler Murray fan, Rowan. I mean, he's awful in the NFC West. He's awful against Seattle. He's a coach killer. And now he's got a Thursday night home game, and he's an underdog. I mean, when are we going to stop expecting more out of Kyler Murray than what we've actually gotten over the last 5+ years?
It's tough because he has those flashes, and when he has those flashes, he looks like he could be a top 10 quarterback in the league. And then it immediately drops off. You see his composure in the pocket. You see his decision-making. At the same time, I mean, his team is not doing him any favors. Those drops from Marvin Harrison last week just absolutely killed him. Wide open, dropping a pass, with a defender not within 10 yards of him. Also had that throw to the end zone, which wasn't an easy throw, but it hit him in the hands. If you want to be a high-caliber receiver in the NFL, you make that catch, and Harrison did not. So, I think at a certain point, you've got to say that, maybe he just doesn't have the right fit around him, but at the same time, I don't think he's ever going to be an elite quarterback in this league.
Well, he's the number one quarterback against the spread on the road since 1970. So he's 27-12 against the spread on the road, right? That's that's pretty good.
Yeah.
It's not home, right? They struggle at home. But like you said, Rode, the team sucks. It's just an organizational thing, right? The Cardinals, they just are who they are. And Harrison isn't turning out to be who they hope. They've hung on the corner too long.
Yeah. Rowan, great job, man. Appreciate it. A couple minutes. We'll do it again soon.
Thanks, guys.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circa Sports Million, Circa Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
welcome back in Game Live, Game Day here on a Wednesday evening. Scott and Gabe, 2 segments left. Check out the baseball board. Check out the hockey board as well. Pittsburgh and Cincinnati. Reds did tie it. Still batting bottom of the 10th inning, and they got runners on first and second, albeit with 2 outs. So Pirates had scored.
They're destined to win this game. They're destined to win this game. Yeah, they were down. They came back. They were down again, 3-2. Listen, I took them, Scott, at minus 140, but kind of bad betting. I mean, even when you said, like, they were down 3 when they got scored on in the extra innings, you said, yeah, whatever. It's like the extra innings.
Yeah, that's it.
I wasn't like, oh my God, they're down a run again. I was like, all right, like, you know what I mean? And then you get a better price again, right? Because they were down a run again. Look, and then they tied it up. There's 2 out right now. They'd be better off just finishing this off, but I get the feeling the Reds are going to sort out that special night tonight. They didn't get it yesterday. Your boy Francona was so excited. He got there at like 9 a.m, he said, to the stadium yesterday. And he was all fired up, and like he was there all day and ended up losing a game. And like, so I think, the baseball gods are going to shine on the Reds tonight. Like I said, the stadium's pretty, the fans are really into this right now. And now the bases are actually loaded. So there's 2 out, but the bases are loaded. So I think they could finish this off. They're minus 220 right now.
Yeah. And, and Francona, I'm not sure. I think he got sick. He's had so many
excuse me. No.
Francona.
Base is not loaded. My bad. My apologies. I thought
first and second.
Still, first and second. First and second, yeah.
Yeah, they're making a pitching change. He didn't get run out of town in Cleveland. I think it was his health issues. He's had so many issues.
Yeah, it was his health.
Francona. Yeah, so it's good to see, him doing well again in Cincinnati. And then obviously he's got to watch the Cleveland Guardians, probably make the playoffs as well. So that would be a double loss if, in fact, he didn't get there. So same scenario we bring up every night here. So Cubs lead the Mets 6-2 now, right? Bottom of the 6th inning, and over-under is 11.5. You grab the Mets plus 4.5. We've had comebacks from both sides over the last week and a half, literally, with this goofy Mets team. So I wouldn't doubt they cover that.
Still out of baseball.
Yeah, it's only the bottom of the 5th. I think I said 6th, bottom of the 5th inning. So you got a ton of baseball. To think that, again, it hit again last night. It hit the other night. To think that they're not going to get 4 more runs with that Mets bullpen, I'd be surprised if we did. So we've been able to cash that ticket a number of times.
And
all
the Mets offense isn't going to tap out, right? They're going to, they're obviously going to try to come back in this game, and they've been good at scoring late runs, and they've been good at giving up late runs. So, yeah, the theme is, and the fact is, if you've been riding that wave, jumping in on these in-game Met overs, if it doesn't win, fine, but it's been winning more than it's been losing. I'll tell you that.
Right. Definitely. I mean, their bullpen, you talk about the Dodger bullpen, right? But the Mets bullpen has been just awful. But it's to be expected, Gabe. When you only use your starter 5 innings and you're playing 162 freaking games, I mean, it's only logical that these guys are going to wear down and not have whatever they had, in April, May, June, even July. I mean, you just can't expect to have these same guys.
And you can't replace them.
They're throwing more innings.
Ask the Dodgers.
You can't replace them.
You can't replace them. What are you going to do? All you can do
they're throwing more innings than the starters. Yeah.
They really
it's
do.
Crazy. Yeah, they're out there every other day. Literally, they're out there every other day.
I've always been fascinated by that in the baseball playoffs, that 162 games, hundreds of millions of dollars spent, and Scott, there's always just some journeyman relief pitcher, like with the World Series on the line or a playoff game on the line, right? For all that, you're just, he can be good. We're hoping. Look at the Dodgers coming into the playoffs, right? They're going to throw all these guys under the bus. They're not going to use Tanner Scott. They're not going to use Blake Treinen and stuff. I've suggested it, and I'm not saying the Dodgers listening to me, but it sounds like the Dodgers are doing what I said they should do. Emmett Sheehan looks like he's going to be the guy, Scott, the closer. That's the new sort of Dodgers plan. So Emmett Sheehan at the back end of this thing, and they're bringing Sasaki is back, right? So what are we going to get from Sasaki, Scott? We don't know. He's supposed to be a phenom. He got hit hard early. He started to figure out a bit. He got hurt. He got hit in AAA. Like, they wanted to call him back sooner. And in fact, it was like a month ago that Dave Roberts said, I don't know, like, he was honest. He goes, we thought that he would be more dominant at AAA and we could call him back up, but he's not. But then, over the last couple of weeks, he got super hot again. And he is a guy, Scott, that pitched in the WBC, right? He pitched in the World Baseball Classic. He's like the MVP of the Japanese League. He has pitched in big games, right? Like the Dodgers signed him expecting him to be part of the rotation, bro, like in the playoffs. So it's a unique situation that he's back now, and they're putting him in the bullpen. So the Dodgers are going to have a fresh new look at the bullpen. It's going to be a hit or miss for them, right? But you're going to have Clayton Kershaw. Clayton Kershaw is coming out of the bullpen. Emmett Sheen's coming out of the bullpen. And Sasaki's coming out of the bullpen. It's a lot better than Blake Treinen and Tanner Scott.
Yeah. But it is 3 guys that aren't used to coming out of the bullpen. I'm a little disappointed in Tanner Scott. He's the one. I mean, he was like unhittable last year. Albeit pitching for Miami, I get that. But he was the one like, okay, big left-handed pitcher, boy, he's going to be phenomenal. And, man, I'm surprised. He really hasn't.
It's obviously in his head now.
10 games?
Yeah, 10 blown saves.
That's a lot for a closer. 10. That's you're not a closer anymore if you blow 10 games. I mean, my goodness. That's
he's mentally broken too. Like it's to the point where like Dodger fans aren't even mad at him; they're more mad at the Dodgers for putting him out there.
Putting him in,
right? It's more so.
Right.
Yeah, it's like guys, like he's done. Like he's and he's a nice guy, but like he nearly broke down in tears like last week. Last night, he was very despondent after the game. And he was talking about, like, it's the worst year of his life. Like, not just sports life, but this is the worst. Like, yeah, it's the worst thing that's ever happened. It's the worst thing of his life. He's sorry to Dodger fans. Like, he's meant to, and they keep on throwing him out there hoping that, all right, just, one, you know what I mean? Can he get it back? Can he just sort of flick the switch? And he isn't. He just isn't. That was his 10th blown save last night.
That's crazy. See, again, you're right. That's like the Yankees with Devin Williams. Sooner or later, you stop blaming the pitcher. You start blaming the manager for bringing him in those tough spots.
Good comparison.
Doesn't make any sense.
Good comparison. Yeah.
I mean, come on. You got to give the guy a break. Let him work it through in a 5-0 game in the 5th inning if you want to. So,
you don't ask somebody to do something you know they can't do it.
Exactly. Right? Cardinals send a manager.
There are right now 10 teams who are 0-2. Every team on this list is 0-2. These are the 7 teams through 2 weeks who have already been eliminated from the Super Bowl picture. First, the Cleveland Browns, who I believe were the worst team coming into this season. The Cleveland Browns are absolutely done.
Game time decisions. Only on SportsGrid.
Josh Heupel. I mean, please, dude, you got to be kidding me. How do you lose this game at home when you've got Georgia on the ropes with a iffy quarterback at best there in Gunnard, and you somehow figure out a way to lose that game? A game, Donnie, of which was pretty much in hand for Notre Dame, 3/4 of it.
The early line. Only on SportsGrid.
It's the most beautiful time of the year. No, not because of foliage or pumpkin spice lattes. It's because of football. SportsGrid has you covered all season long, covering every snap, every score, and every line move. Prepare, watch, win. Weekends are for winners. Only on SportsGrid.
The sharpest football contest show in the land, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show, focuses on Circus Sports Million, Circus Survivor, and the Westgate Super Contest, handicapping the games and releasing our contest picks every week of the season. With 2 former Super Contest winners, Brady Cannon and James Salinas, a former NFL player, Mike Pritchard, and over $1 million in contest prize money won combined, the Las Vegas Football Contest Show will have you prepared this season like none other.
it's the hazards of gambling. Sometimes your thinking is right, but the bet is wrong. And I'm not going to take the blame for this one, Gabe. I'm going to blame FanDuel for this one because my premise with our opening picks, one of them was Jacob deGrom. I went under strikeouts 6.5. But my whole thinking was he's not going to be in there very long because this is probably his last start, and the guy's got a gazillion arm issues, right? So I would have, had FanDuel offered it, his outs, like I did with the other dude there, Yusaki. So, or Kikuchi, rather. But they didn't. And FanDuel does that sometimes. Like, sometimes they offer only strikeouts versus the outs.
But you
So
should get to the part where deGrom had 8 strikeouts.
Yeah. But he only went 5 innings. He only threw 74 pitches. So I was right. I mean, I knew he wouldn't be in there for 6, 7, 8, but they didn't offer the outs. They only offered the strikeouts. And he got the strikeouts, which is why the Blake Snell for you and I can actually hit. Like we talked about. Like I got Blake Snell outs under, and you got his strikeouts over, and we could both win, and both be right. But they didn't. I don't know why they do that, FanDuel. Like they offered it for Snell, they offered it for Kikuchi, but then they didn't offer it for deGrom. It's almost like they knew he wasn't going to be in there long, but somehow or another he had a puncher's chance to get 7 strikeouts. So I'm not happy about that.
I like to know, though, about his innings. Like I said, about if there were any additional bonuses at stake for him tonight.
Right.
How many times,
that is a very good
I brought it up earlier, how many times does he go 5 innings, right? 5 innings or more, etc. Maybe it was like, I'm going to go 5 and I'm tapping out tonight. Because I'm with you. There would be no real good reason to pitch deGrom tonight. It'd be like, listen, we paid you a lot of money. Got a good year this year. We're sorry we screwed it up. We'll see you in the spring, right? Right type deal. So, the fact that he's pitching tonight sort of leads me to believe I thought that he would do well, but you did have the right take. I mean, he wasn't going to go 7 innings. I got a pick on the way out here. We've been tracking the hockey, obviously, all night. So the Canucks and the Flames are coming up. If you want to jump in on the under of that. We bet the under in every game tonight, guys. So we're riding the wave of the unders. But I think the Anaheim Ducks are going to beat the LA Kings tonight. And they're like plus 110. So there's a side for you. I think the Canucks are going to win. And one of the best bets in sports, guys, has been a soccer team that I'm a fan of that I go see a lot in the Vancouver Whitecaps. It's kind of like their story is crazy. Like their team is for sale. They have like a very limited budget and payroll compared to a lot of other teams. I could go on, but somehow they're like this unstoppable force, and they haven't lost, Scott, since August the 9th. Think about that.
Wow.
Like October, we're coming into October now. Like they haven't lost a game since August the 9th. They're playing tonight. They're on their home pitch in Vancouver. They're a great home team. They're playing against a big rival in Portland. Portland, Seattle, and Vancouver are big rivals in the Western Conference. Portland are average, and Vancouver are missing a ton of players tonight, but it doesn't matter. Like, whatever lineup they put out, they win. So I think they're going to win tonight with the lineup they have. Brian White is back tonight. Look for Brian White to score a goal, actually, guys, for the Whitecaps. But I like the Whitecaps at minus 163. And if you're really getting into the game, at worst, it'd be a draw. Like I said, they've had a few ties since August the 9th, but they don't lose a lot, Scott. And 163 is a pretty pricey favorite for soccer, actually, though. So they are significant favorites tonight. I can't dispute that, but I think they're going to win the game. And like I said, Brian White was injured. Now Mueller is out, the star German player. So White gets an opportunity to take center stage again, and he's a lethal goal scorer, Brian White. U.S. national player, plays for the U.S. national team at times. But I see he's actually not starting right now. He's healthy enough to play, but he's not starting. So scratch my White goal. And let's go with, here's one for you. Emmanuel Sabi to score a goal at plus 120 for the hardcores.
I have noticed about soccer, for whatever reason, they list the home team on top versus,
yes, they do.
9 times and the road team. But in soccer, it's the other way around. Another one of the many goofy things about soccer. So, all right. So there you go. Little Whitecaps. I like that. Minus the 170 on FanDuel to win outright. Mets and then Cubbies. We talked about going over, right? With a 6-2. Cubs tacked on 2 runs already. Top of the 6th inning, it's 8-2. So that looks like it's halfway decent. Cleveland just finished off the Detroit Tigers 5-1. Wow, the Tigers lose again. Unbelievable.
The misery.
The misery continues.
They're going to blame the owner because they were mad. They were mad as hell at the trade deadline that they weren't aggressive. And now it's going to come full circle.
Yeah. Gabe, great job as always. Gabe and I will be back tomorrow for the entire Thursday Night Football, 8 o'clock Eastern. Hopefully you guys can tune in. Thanks, buddy.